What is up, you guys? This is the Peak Travel Bag, Peak Designs Travel Bag, and a lot of you recently have been asking me this question about, should I get this bag? Is it the Aer Travel Bag? What about the Heimplanet Monolith? How does it compare to the Minaal? So let me just pull out all my travel bags, put them all on the floor here, and you can look at them with me while I pull them up on the screen, and we can compare them to this guy to see what's different about each one. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up bags on here. I'm gonna move some stuff around. I'm gonna pull up some bags. We're just gonna talk about what's different. Let's start with the Wandrd Hexad access duffel and the Nomatic Travel. All right, so one at a time here. This is the Nomatic Travel Bag, okay? Lots of capacity. I did a whole video on this. I will link below in the description below to this bag, all the bags I'm gonna show you, I have done a longer in-depth review on. So if you're drawn to any of these bags, you've got more research you could do. So I'm not gonna walk you through all the features of this bag, nor am I gonna walk you through all the features of this bag, the Wandrd Hexad access duffel, which just has so many straps and flaps and things. Here's the deal about these bags, okay? They're both very rigid materials, and I dislike that in travel. I don't like it. I like this bag. I like the Peak's version of this a lot more than I like these over here. For example, the Wandrd is a very rigid feel, and when you're getting in and out of the zippers, it just doesn't feel right. I don't like it. However, if you're a photographer and you need to put in a camera cube or two and have like stuff for your travel things, this is kind of one of the best bags out there for that, because that rigidity out here helps protect some of your stuff. You can fit good camera cubes in there. They make some decent ones. I think there's better ones out there that probably fit, because their stuff just is made for travel. And I think, I don't know, when you're taking a carry-on, I don't know. Anyways, the point being, for bringing camera and photography stuff, this thing is pretty killer. But and if you're not a serious photographer, you're not taking like a whole fucking massive camera cube, then I just think this is a vastly superior bag. And my hunch is a lot of you will probably be drawn towards these bags. You will get them, you'll use them for a little while, and then you'll be finding yourself researching something like this. I might be wrong about that, but that's just one thing I know. One other thing about these, there are pockets sort of all over, not so much with the Wandrd, like the pockets for traveling with this bag are not very good, but when you're like, you need things in transit, like you need your water bottle, or you need to put your snacks somewhere, your passport and stuff like that. This doesn't do a terribly good job of that in my experience. The Nomatic does a better job, but it's like, there's a pocket out here, there's a couple more over here, there's two up top, right? I think in the Peak Designs, the travel one, it's a little bit better in transit. You have your quick access, and then you've got this very easily zippable front panel organization thing where you've got this nice pocket up top, you got these guys here. I said easily zippable on purpose, because when you're in transit and you need to just be able to flop quickly into something, like, it makes a big difference. And so all of that's right here. It's never like, wait, which side of the bag was it on? Where was that again? Both the Nomatic and the Wandrd have that problem. And so for that reason, I just think this is like same size, same like structured kind of bag, semi-rigid, protective. This is definitely a more quality feeling version of these to me. Now, both those bags are still great. You're gonna have a blast traveling with them and do it if you can just get out of your head for a minute and just go like, this is great. I got a great bag for my adventure. I'm doing fine. Now, another bag I think I'm hearing a lot of questions about is the GoRuck GR2. Now, what's interesting about these two bags is these are like, to me, these are real identities. These bags have a real spirit to them. Both of them, these companies both have a real spirit to them. So Peak Designs makes a lot of intelligent decisions and designs and does a lot of problem solving with a little more of like a, I want to be Elon Musk kind of vibe, like looking to the future. GoRuck has a little more of a vibe of like, I want to be my grandfather, right? It's almost like you kind of do have to have one of those men in your life to really understand the aesthetic of the GoRuck. And I frankly, I don't really have one of those men in my life, but I pretend sometimes that I did. Here's the thing about these bags. They both fit about the same amount of stuff. This guy has more padding. This guy feels more like a bag. This guy has tighter, more rigid straps. This guy has more comfortable, even though these are, so they're wide and flat and they're very hard. Something about them feels comfortable because they're wide and they distribute all of that weight across. These are not comfortable. These are not uncomfortable. These are not uncomfortable. These are not uncomfortable. I definitely prefer this to that. Just speaking of the shoulder strap. Another place that we have a little issue here is this is a little bit better in just the in-transit stuff. This front access pocket is sort of lame. Just gotta say it, GoRuck. I think it's got the great aesthetic, but in use, stuff just falls down. You're in and out when the bag's packed out. This thing's really tight and hard to get into. So I wish there was a better way to do this thing, but what it does get us is a much more cleaner, minimal aesthetic, which I'm a huge fan of. You have on this front panel, you have all of this organizational type stuff, but there's also a lot of capacity in this front panel. So if you had smaller pouches or packing cubes, this would be really good. And in fact, to have the same kind of capacity as this, for this bag, you would need to be using that for some packing stuff. So, you know, maybe you can take up a lot of room packing up these mesh guys with a lot of different stuff. That could be your style. I typically don't end up doing that because I don't like going into my bag and pulling a lot of different stuff out. I like to have packing cubes, pull all the packing cubes out, throw the bag under the bed, and now I've got everything I need. The packing cubes are literally just in the dresser drawers. Just because it's valuable here, I've got my packing cubes. These are the Peak Designs packing cubes. You can watch my video on Peak Designs travel bag to see what I think about these packing cubes and all that stuff. I think they're actually really great. So to give you a sense of space here, we've got a little bit of room, whereas these fill up the Peak Designs like perfectly. This is a little bit wider and not quite as tall, because at the top of the Peak Designs, you have a little more space. You can literally fit their tech pouch. So here's their tech pouch, for example, which I really don't think I'd be able to use in this bag. It's almost fits, but it's just a little too, you know, it's just not, I don't like that. I like it when the shit fits well in the bag, because you see how this comes up over the lip of this bag? That's just a total red flag. I can do that when it's in the middle, but not on the outside. So just, you know, I wouldn't want to use this like that. I'd want to use it like that, right? The reason why I'm pulling that out is because of, I'll show you in a second, how perfectly it all fits into the Peak Design. So I'm just trying to give us a sense of the volume of these bags. So here's my packing cube, or my wash bag. If you need to find out more about my pouches, I'm gonna be doing a huge video on these soon. In the meantime, you can go to bagworks.co/pouches if you're the kind of pouchy sort of person that I think you might be. Okay, so I fit my wash bag in there on the side. Here's like a Peak Designs field kit. That fits sort of, you know, pretty well on the side, or this one which has headphones in it from Triple Lot Design. It's just way too tall. What this really wants right here is a pouch that's about this size. This is the Bellroy Classic pouch. I love this thing. I've got my headphones in here. I did a whole video on a death match, the Bluetooth headphone death match. You should check that out. It's bloody. And so like, that's like, there's like the amount of stuff. I'll have like a sundry of pouches out here just to kind of show us the volume of these spaces. So that's like the perfect amount of space for that on this GoRuck bag. Now, inside this main compartment here, you can see, or the secondary compartment, you can see this guy right here. That's roughly, you know, roughly the size that you're working with. So this pouch could fit, like, yeah, it does. It fits pretty good down there at the bottom there. And then you can fit in multiple other pouches. I mean, so there's a lot of room in there to add your sort of miscellanea on top of your packing cubes. Okay, so here's this GoRuck GR2 all the way packed out. This is the 34 liter. I don't know if I mentioned that. Comes in a 40 liter as well, which I just think is effectively like seppuku, the honorable art of killing yourself, because 40 liters is just big. It just looks huge, right? So here's the 34. It fits really well. My stuff is well protected because I have hard padding on the bottom and the back of the bag, and then the front of the bag has that really protective, strong, durable Cordura fabric. My straps feel good. This is, like I said, I'm always telling people, if you're drawn to the GoRuck bag at all, just quit it. Go for a GoRuck. Spend the money and be done with your search. Obviously, for a lot of women, they don't want to look like they're fucking field medics or something like that. My one bummer about this is it's got that tactical sort of thing. When you're walking around with a GoRuck, now you're really signaling like, hey, I'm a GoRuck guy. And if you see another GoRuck guy and he goes off to the like ruck-offs and he like hangs out with a bunch of dudes like pulling the rucking on themselves and stuff like that, then it's like, well, if you don't do that, you're gonna feel out of place. But the truth is, this is a great looking bag. And it does a good job. I think this beats it, like I was saying, on transit, in transit stuff, because getting into this front pouch, because you have these gussets, these rain gussets here, or like flop overs or whatever you want to call them, it just makes getting in and out of this a little more of a serious affair. It just makes it like, and by the way, you do have organization built into this pocket, so you'd probably likely be using that in some way. But it's just a little harder to get in and out of, whereas, like I showed before, this zipper is just so nice and easy. There's no gusset and flap to navigate. It's water sealed, so you've got the weather resistance going on. It's definitely a better bag to get access to in transit. But I would say the GR2 can actually fit a little bit more still whilst being comfortably, without totally packing it out. I mean, how it's packed out right now is basically to comfortable capacity, which means it's a bitch to get into this because this is not designed to be able to be accessed while the bag is like actually packed out. Now let's roughly try to fit that same amount of stuff into the Peak Designs and just see how it is different. So first of all, we've got our 2 packing cubes, which thank you Peak Designs for just designing packing cubes that just so perfectly fit. Then I've got my tech pouch. Again, thank you Peak Designs for making that just so perfectly fit right there. I wouldn't want to put much more than that in there, except for, so in the GoRuck, I had these 2 on the side instead of the packing cube, or instead of the tech cube. So I'll just throw my minimal traveling kit right there, my wash bag. And that's kind of how I'll like to keep it, because on the front pouch, you actually do have, or the front pocket, you actually do have a little bit of space inside here for fitting stuff. So I could fit this pouch that I had in there, and the field pouch, and this guy, but I'm starting to get to a point on this bag where it feels a little too tight. Well, no, never mind. I mean, it zips really easy. The bummer about, I obviously wouldn't travel with pouches like that there, because I want to be able to get in and out of this really easily to be able to use stuff. I don't like it when this is like flopping out and falling out like that. Might be a good reason to start using these sort of inner mesh pockets if your thing can fit in there, which looks like these probably won't be able to. At least not both of them together, but like just giving you a sense that they fit the same amount of stuff, this bag and the GoRuck roughly. So it's not a capacity issue. It's really gonna be style, price, aesthetic, and then whether or not, like, yeah, because I mean, I know some people who are just gonna like, dude, I'm not gonna look like I'm going to Mars. Like, I'm not gonna look like I have a parachute on my back. And I know some people who are like, I'm not gonna look like I'm going to fucking Afghanistan to be in the war. All right, let's keep going here. The Heimplanet Monolith 40 liter. Listen, I'm a little bit like getting testy now because I've actually done all of these bags before. I was filmed for 30 minutes and then my camera was like, turns out it was just never on. The life of a YouTuber, you guys. It is harrowing. It's hard out here. Okay, this Heimplanet Monolith 40 liter, it typically you can't get the sense of the bag when it's empty. So let me go ahead and fill it up. By the way, one thing this bag misses, as does the GoRuck, as does basically the other 2, is a water bottle holder that's easily accessible from the outside, okay? The Peak Designs crushes that. I mean it. These are so easy to get a water bottle in and out of, but they're tall, so your water bottle is totally safe, and you never feel like it's falling out. They're also great for throwing snacks and just like such a useful thing when you're on the road. Okay, so check out how different this bag is. You've got the packing cubes in there, but all of this space on the side. That's enough to fit this packing cube easily. Also, there's not like the GoRuck, it's not like there's a second layer of things that we can fill that up too. It's one big pouch. That's one of the reasons why I love this thing so much. So, I mean, you could just fit a lot of stuff in here if you wanted to and get it all in and still have a bag that's really comfortable for travel. This bag has these 3D pockets over here, because I call them 3D because they actually have dimension built in. I just don't use that shit. I just do not use it, right? So I zip it all up, and because I've got this thick material with padding inside, the whole thing just ends up, I don't know, it just takes whatever shape it gets. One of my favorite things about this bag is it's damn comfortable, and I mean, the only thing that I can make sense of is is how it's comfortable is it's got a very, you've got your soft stuff up against your back. There's typically, you're gonna have your laptop there, right? So that goes away. But these guys are just, they're really, I don't know, it's like what you wanted the GoRuck strap to be like, but GoRuck won't do it because it's probably just not, it's not durable enough for something, but these are so comfortable. I have no hip straps. Again, I'm 5'10", about 190 pounds. And this is one of my favorite bags for comfort. I just put it on and I just feel like going. Now, where this bag loses points against the Peak is in access while you're traveling. You only have an outside pocket here and here. They're both small. They're great for like, little travel items, documents and things like that, snacks. They're really great. No water bottle pocket though, right? Now, I mitigate that by just basically putting my water bottle and anything else I might need just right up here or in the bag somewhere, because the truth is, it fits. I like bags like this. I like just big utilitarian bags. This has got this, I think it's like the 1680D ballistic nylon. It's very abrasive resistant. It's very dirt resistant. It's very tear and, break resistant and all that stuff. So it's strong. It's lightweight as a bag. It's much less weight than this. I mean, it's not much less. It's just, but it's simpler. I like the simple things. Typically, I have a daily carry bag packed right inside of here with all my shit in it packed on top of my clothes. I do not travel like this with like a bunch of pouches like hanging around and dangling all over the place. I don't. I travel with those 2 packing cubes and a wash kit. That's it. Occasionally, there'll be another pair of like very minimal, like small shoes in there. So for me, it's really easy to fit in a daily carry bag right on top of this. I even sometimes will just put my laptop in that. So my laptop's out here. I pull the laptop out to go through TSA, but then I get to the airplane seat. I pull that whole bag out. I put it in the seat as I put this up above in the overhead compartment. This is a little bit of a different story. I could still do the same thing. It's just like you have this organization in the bag that makes transit a little bit easier. So you kind of want to use it. You know what I mean? Which means you might have some things you need for your flight in pockets. You got to take the bag out, down, pull out the few things that you need, put them on the seat, then put the bag up in the compartment. Both are favorites. Both are great bags. If I could, I would encourage you to just buy both of them because they're really great examples of the 2 different kinds of travel there are out there. Tons of organization, padding, nice, tight, sleek thing. By the way, when this is packed out, it's not uncomfortable in comparison to this. It's just different. It's tight. It's got a little bit of stiffness to it, but that feels good. It's not a bad kind of stiffness. I will say that this softer, gooier thing does just tend to be favorite to me. All right, so speaking of massive capacity, let's get into the Tortuga Setout. This thing's huge, but roughly you'll see it's bigger than what we've been looking at, but just by a little bit. So here's the stuff directly from the Heimplanet. Let me make sure I know where my bottom is. You gotta know where your bottom is. You see how this whole thing like sort of humps up on the bottom like this? Is because these hip straps are just massive. They have tons of padding, which actually make them pretty comfortable, but they're also just like unwieldy when you're just moving this bag around without wearing it. Okay, so it's basically the same size height-wise as our Peak Designs is, right? In terms of like, this is basically what the Peak Designs does. It just barely squishes that in like perfectly, but I still have some space up in here. So let's grab some of our pouches and just to show you what we got. I will just throw these guys in just like that. So it's basically the same, it's just big. It's big, right? And it's tall too. It goes up a little bit over where those packing cubes are, but I don't like to pack things out very much more than that because the bag, well, I mean, you can easily get like, talk about being able to fit daily carry right on top of that, like easy does it. So you'd definitely be able to fit a daily carry. Another thing you got on this one is you do have this great water bottle pocket, right? It's solid. Another great thing on this one is you do have this great strap system. It can feel a little overkill, right? It can just definitely feel a little bit overkill, but it's nice, especially those hip straps. These hip straps are definitely more comfortable than the ones on here. What you do pay for with this bag is you've got a floppiness going on, right? It's huge, it's way out there, it sticks out way back that way, right? It's a big ass bag. Again, 5'10", 190 pounds, okay? So it's big, but you're very mobile. You feel comfortable. These hip straps are great. You got Skittles over here, Jujubes over here. Some of you know what I'm talking about. With a good hip strap, you should be able to kind of like take the bag off and it stays upright. That's what makes it like actually comfortable, is the bag is staying on like vertical on you, and this clearly does not, right? So the hip straps are good because it does alleviate some of the weight off of your shoulders, but it doesn't it really kind of like, it doesn't end up changing too terribly much when you take them off. Like, it's sort of weird, but they're so fluffy and padded that you feel like they're helping a lot. It'd be great to see Tortuga try to figure out a way to integrate them in a way that doesn't flop, because basically they just move around like this. The same thing with these guys, right? But they have this nice rigid, like they have, the Peak Designs has these metal like liners, I don't know what, like little poles in there that hold this thing straight. You see this just flopping? You see that floppability? That, you pay for that in travel. But you've got all that capacity, and you have this this pocket here where you can fit a lot of stuff. You got a lot of tech organizing. All of your access when you're in transit is great. And you've got a big old laptop compartment. Now, they also have the Tortuga Setout, which is the same exact thing, just a little bit smaller, I think, because they realized, like, fuck, this is a floppy ass bag. This bag can actually expand and contract. Let's open it up, expand it all the way, and see what it can fit. Okay, so here's basically the same amount of pouches that we've had and everything else. My 2 packing cubes are packed over on this side of the bag. This is something that the Setout does sort of interesting when you expand it. You see the zippers here. This is where your expansion happens. You can collapse this whole thing away, roughly, but it's also feels a little bit bigger capacity than the actual main capacity that's built into the bag. So I put my packing cubes in there. Then I've got my pouches here. You close it up. I mean, I don't think I would travel like this typically, but to show you, since I've been using these pouches with the other bags, you get a sense, holy shit, that little Setout actually carries everything. And just like its big brother, the Setout not divide, you've got this organizational pocket here and a laptop compartment up against the back. And just like its bigger brother, you've got a water bottle pocket and a bunch of compression straps around there so you can tighten everything up. And just like its bigger brother, you've got a nice little harness strap system and not a very rigid back. I mean, there's something plastic there, but it's not like it's straight. It's not like it's gonna keep its shape. It can definitely moof down on you. Okay, but comfort-wise, it's not that bad. Here's the deal. Because it sticks out on my back a little bit more, and it doesn't go down as far, for example, like the Heimplanet Monolith, it's a little less deep this way, and a little taller and a little wider instead. This makes for a little bit more comfortable of a carry because I'm not leaning against that load, pulling me back that way quite as much because it's spread further down and wide. Now that said, it's still very comfortable, like roughly speaking, because you've got all this padding, you've got these huge like air channels on your back. It feels very over-engineered to me. It's one of the things I haven't liked about this bag. These Tortuga bags, like same thing with the Outbreaker, just feels like all of this padding and crazy over-engineering to make it feel like it's to make basically a poorly designed bag feel comfortable. And I don't mean that it's poorly designed, I just mean that it's like, oh, it would be a lot more comfortable if it was longer and wider instead of deeper. But we fit all that stuff, and let me just try this. I wanna see what it's like when it's totally, everything's removed from the bag, because it can contract, and see if that does a little bit better as a daily carry than the way that the Peak can contract. So here's the bag with basically nothing in it, totally contracted. I always think of, can I get away with like going through Paris with this? You know what I mean? Can I get away with going through Paris, like just grabbing a baguette and some cheese and sitting on the lawn and having this on my way there? And I just don't feel like I can. It comes up kind of tall and high. It's got all of this rigid, massive stuff. It just doesn't have the right look. For like being just a simple day traveler. So for me, I'd still have to pack in my daily carry bag right inside, and then we're getting a little tight in this bag for that. But some of you probably are getting the feeling like you should be in this bag. Okay, so I got one more bigger bag, and then I wanna show you a few of my like sort of medium-sized travel bags and compare those to this. So this is the Bihn Aeronaut, the 45 liter. Let's see how much stuff fits inside. By the way, on this bag, you have a divider that's removable to give you like three, like a little compartment, big compartment. I'm just gonna remove everything and just fill the fucker in. Okay, here is the Bihn Aeronaut. Now here's the deal. This thing actually does have shit tons of space in it, okay? So I left this pocket open so you can see in here. You see how this is packed out? There's actually a little bit of a barrier up top so that no matter what, you can pack out this main compartment and still have some space over here, which is perfect. It does it on both sides for like a water bottle compartment or something like that. So this bag is really dope. Then to show you the space, I definitely was able to fit more, and I could fit more in this right now than I currently have. All right, I just throw on another pouch on top. Here you can see I've got the big one, the medium or the small one, got my tech pouch, I've got my wash kit, and then I've got my the two smaller pouches kind of shoved all in there. And then I still have space here, space for my water bottle, little pockets on the outside right here and right here. Okay, so let me just throw everything back in and just feel the weight of it. Of course, one of the things that you do not have in this bag is a laptop compartment, okay? It is not a tech bag. This is just for travel. It is a duffel bag, right? But you've got these hideawayable straps that are just your standard Bihn straps, same thing that they have on their Synapse. It's what they use on all their straps, so they must believe in them. I've got no hip straps here, and nor do I have the ability to connect them, but it is quite comfortable. It's not that bad. I mean, obviously I don't have a laptop in there against my back, so that's playing a role. This feels solid. Doesn't have the floppy, fluffy gushiness of the Heimplanet strap. It's more similar to the Peak Design strap, but it feels pretty solid. And look at this. They got the strap on the right side. They got the handle on the right side. Look at that. Boom! So here's the deal on this one. This thing does have more capacity. It's got great, this one's with their ballistic nylon, seriously heavy duty stuff. They make it in a much lighter fabric as well. That's supposed to be really, really durable also. But you miss out on having the tech organization, like the laptop specifically. So you can find a way to get your laptop organized here on the front of the bag. One of the challenges of that, you look at the size of a 15-inch MacBook Pro up against the actual size of this guy, you got a little bit of an issue of getting it in and out. Let's just see what it's like. I mean, this is unprotected. No, it's easy. You're there. You're there. You're throwing it in. You get a laptop cache, a case, a cover for it from Bihn or something like that, and you're good. Check out bagworks.co/pouches. I'll add some laptop caches to that. Now these zippers all have a water resistant gusseting on the underside here, so you've got some water resistant seal. It does make for that, and they're just gnarly number 10 YKK zippers. I just love them. They're gonna last a billion years. They are, like, for a while, they're kind of like hard to get in and out of. So overall, your access and your organization are better over here, and your look and feel as well. You might really prefer this to this sort of basic sort of version. You do also have that tech stuff as well. So some of you know who you are. If you're like just needing clothes to get to Europe, like, quit it. Come on, get into it. Okay, one more big bag here. This is the Aer Tech bag, or the Aer, not Tech, but the Aer Travel. Let's just load it up and see where our capacity is. Okay, so right off the bat here, you can see we're roughly talking about the same size as the Peak Designs travel bag. This is exactly how that bag rolls, except for it's a little bit shorter, a little bit not as deep in this main compartment as the Peak Design is. But because our lip here does have about like 3/4 to a full inch of overhang, you good. Now I normally like to try to get my wash kit in with my main compartment just so that I don't have to worry about that flopping around other places. Just want to make sure I can do that here. Okay, so there you go. And with the water bottle compartment, right, which is a nice one. I don't have these 3 pouches in there. Really, on most of them, I was just putting these 2 pouches in there. So that leaves me some space up in here to add some stuff and take whatever's in those pouches, maybe organize that into here, or just get these pouches into this because it does have some capacity built in. So I could easily get all of these in there and still zip it up just to show you a sense of the capacity. Now let's put this fucker on, see what we're talking about in terms of comfort. Now, there are some hip straps I believe you can get for this. They're just like the Setout or they just kind of flop around down there. They can be helpful for bringing the bag up. What this bag does really well is it does have a very sturdy, rigid back plate compared to the Setout, for example. This thing keeps its shape a lot more when it's given the moof test. Moofy is a technical term that I've created here to represent, you know, just general frumpiness. So this bag on, it feels pretty solid. It just feels solid. There's nothing special about it, is what it feels like. I do feel the softness of the mesh back there. I do feel a little sense of like it won't be, like it'll help me to kind of breathe because there's a channel down the center of the spine. But like roughly very similar to this guy. You start to feel all the pressure up here is what it feels like. It feels like it's pulling you down there. So that's gonna wear on you over time for sure, where I would recommend getting the hip straps if you're gonna be carrying this thing around for a long time. But as a sort of stylish bag, this is where I think this thing wins a lot of points for me, is because it just hits a very simple aesthetic, a very black on black, minimal aesthetic. Also, access while you're traveling does a damn good job because you've got that same sort of organizational panel right here where you can get into stuff with a very easily zipped thing. And you've got this guy, right? Easy. And I didn't even mention you got a shoe pocket. You've got this nice pocket for access. I don't know, you know, there's like, you got compression straps and stuff like that. It's a solid bag and one that I think a lot of people, you'll get into this and you might not have the feeling like, maybe I should have gotten into the Peak designs. Okay, you can see how like looks wise, they're very similar. This is definitely a little more turtleneck, a little more Elon Musk. Solid. Love both of these. They feel like a good brand. This is a little more unassuming, a little more just like, I don't know. I kind of like that it says less. Maybe it says more to some of you. Kind of says less to me. Okay, a lot of people ask about the Minaal, all right? Let me show you what our capacity is on the Minaal so you get a sense of, I've traveled with this thing a lot of times. I love this guy. I love these guys. I love the way it's made. I think the material is absolutely killer. One of the challenges with this bag is it actually can be hard to pack or just challenging to pack. It's never really a problem when you're in transit unless you've packed it in such a way that you need to get something deep down that like you just never want to do that. You always want to have like packing cubes and things you don't need deep down. Now this bag is functionally like, I would love to travel with it at that kind of capacity, right? Just those two bags. Then I can, you know, you have some pockets here. You can throw in a couple of little pouches. But basically, this bag to me is really only great when it's traveled with very minimally. Which this isn't even all that minimal, right? But this with my favorite little deploy bag from Why Not, I just throw that right in there just so I have it when I get to my destination. And then I zip all this up. What's great about this bag is it does just barely fit under the seat in front of you in the airport and in the airplane. So you can do it. Sometimes a flight attendant, you gotta kind of like hide it with your knee. Sometimes a flight attendant will be like, that's not okay, sir. And you can't do that in an exit row. So if you're so pro, you can get an exit row, you probably won't be able to do that anyways. The reason why I bring that up is because it's got really great organization all around the bag. So all my tech stuff fits in here. I've even got some places for, and then you have two pockets up here on the top, which are functionally unusable if this bag's packed out too much, okay? So this is why I like packing, like this bag like this is one of the greatest bags to travel with, right? It's the smallest you can get for the kind of size you need and still be able to get stuff in and out. It's a bummer as a daily carry. That's one of my bummers about this bag is it doesn't really function very well as a daily carry. It's just too floppy. What's great is it's not that bad. It just doesn't look that great. Okay, but then I got basically fitting in two more pouches if I, you know, pull these out and put them inside of here. But one of the bummers about these pockets is what you put into one takes up capacity in the other. So if you put one in there, so I'm always traveling with this bag, and both of these things are like, hard to get into. This is one of my bummers on this bag, and I've traveled with it so many times, it's nice to not have to deal with that and use other bags. But I basically wouldn't be where I am in my life without this bag. Now, size-wise, here's what's different. Size-wise, this isn't very much smaller than this. Do you see that? That's sort of a big deal. So it's like, oh, this is like effectively the same size of a bag. The little bit bigger that this is effectively means you really wouldn't be able to put it under the seat in front of you on the airplane, I think, which is not a goal of this bag. It's also not a goal of this bag, but you can fit an awful lot more and comfortably in the Peak designs. Oh, and in the Minaal, I basically just didn't have this guy, like, right? So it was definitely missing a lot of stuff there. And yet it's surprisingly not much smaller than this bag. That's what I don't understand. Like, how are they fitting all of that stuff over here? And how are they not fitting that much stuff over here? Okay, I mentioned the Heimplanet Transit. This video is getting way too long. Similar story as the Minaal. I prefer this to the Minaal if I was traveling at that level. And when it's packed out, it's just not that much smaller than this. So it's kind of like, well, why don't we just use this? Like, here is the Heimplanet with just the 2 packing cubes and my wash kit in there. So I'm missing this still. There's just a lot of bulk taken up with all of the pack, what am I talking about? The tech stuff. This tech stuff back here, there's a little bit of bulk taken up, which is great. And you could fit a bunch of stuff in here, but it's not protected. It's not like you're gonna be crunching up with it. Good looking bag though. Solid looking bag and perfect for that sort of size. Some of you will be able to, bigger framed people would be able to use this as a daily carry, especially for business stuff. Okay, the carry-on bag from OpposeThis, the invisible carry-on bag. This is my 2 packing cubes, my wash kit, all in the main compartment. Then my tech organizer from Peak, and those 2 organizers down in here, right? That, and this guy. Very interesting showing here from the invisible people. So it's like backpack size, right? So this is made to be a bag that you can use for travel and for daily carry. I think it's one of the better I've seen at this, precisely for the reason that you're seeing right here, is like, it can actually carry a lot, and it does a damn good job of being in daily carry size, right? Like, it's not perfect for me, but I almost can get away with it. So check out my review on this bag to learn more about it. Okay, the Millican Smith the Rolltop. This is a 25 liter. I've got a review coming out soon on this one if it's not out already. Let's just see what this can pack in. Now, this is a very different bag to this, but I think some of you should be thinking about traveling with something like this. First of all, with nothing in it, it's like a solid looking sort of fashionable daily carry bag. And yet it can be packed with literally everything you've seen me pack, including the water bottle, right? So it's got, I mean, once it's packed out, this water bottle is maybe a little tighter than it needs to be. And it has a laptop compartment. Video coming soon on this guy. The thing about this is it's like, obviously I've got my pouches in here are just barely fitting. I just wanted to shove them in to show you that it can fit the capacity. But nice showing from this Millican. This is representative of a lot of different Rolltop kinds of bags. I really like these guys a lot. There's some bummers that I have on this bag, but like, I really like it. Video coming soon. And then before I just tear it down, like the comfort on this is pretty good. It has very similar straps to this guy in that they feel smaller and a little more rigid, but really nice back padding, very nice back padding that make for like a very comfortable carry. And also because it's such a small form factor in comparison, and it's a very lightweight bag, I don't know, the comfort goes a long way here. But I will say that it's not as smooth to travel with this much stuff as it is in here. When you have this much stuff, going with a bag that's smoother is better. But if you can get more minimal, if I could take out 2 of those pouches and the tech pouch, like this thing is totally great as a travel bag. Woo, boy, this is a long video. Thanks for watching. We got a little bit more if you're up for it. I just rarely get to do this where I'm like just like showing you all sorts of bags so you can get a really good feel for what the size of each thing is. Okay, so here's the Boundary Supply Prima system. Again, we're in this like minimal travel thing where it could basically work as a daily carry. But what's it like to travel with? So let's take my Peak cubes, put these in here, right? I've got the big one and the medium one, perfect. I've got my wash kit, maybe I can fit that right on top. Some of the organization of this bag is internal to these pockets here, so you're missing out on some of these organization when you pack it out a bunch. That's okay. Okay, so that is what it looks like with just, and then my laptop's on the back, and I've got some organization here at the top, water bottle pocket there. This is just a pocket that gets me into that main capacity. So solid for minimal travel that way. And it still works as a daily carry. It's definitely more of a robust sort of daily carry. But if we wanted to fit in this tech pouch and maybe try to get it to take it to the next level, looks like we easily could do that, fold that down. But that's basically it. So back here we've got our laptop, which quickly can go in and out, and we've got a quick access up here and a water bottle. And so basically can maybe fit those headphones in here, but it'd be really tight. I wouldn't want to do that. So as minimal travel here, I mean, this is really such a different category. This has become something different than just comparing you to the Peak designs. But as minimal travel goes, like when you learn how to travel with just this, and then it's your daily carry when you get there, you're gonna feel like $1 million fucking bucks. There's nothing like traveling minimally. And then like the comfort on this is it's definitely rigid and hard instead of soft and foamy, but it because of the back support, because it's nice and really rigid and straight all up against there, I don't know. It all feels pretty good. This is definitely one of my favorites for that like adventure bag thing. All right, we should just stop it there. Come on, this is getting ridiculous. You guys, that is how the Peak design stacks up with all of these kinds of bags. Basically, it does really well. The only thing that I think I might use over this is the Heimplanet Monolith 40 liter. That's personally for me. Or the Bihn Aeronaut, which definitely has more capacity, and if I don't need any tech organization, this is pretty dope. Or that GoRuck GR2 if I wanted to go with that aesthetic and that brand. That's all just my opinions. You guys got to see it all live and just watch. That's why I did the packing cubes and all that stuff, so you could be like, all right, I can see with my eyes capacity. I can understand there's a pocket here, there, and the other place if it's not that good to travel with. Now, one room for improvement on here would be probably with the comfort, going with a more cushy, because these are like, they make it so you can put these away, and I'm like, dude, nobody needs to put these away. This is a travel bag, don't need to put these away. Let's stop designing this for that. You know, when it's a travel bag, let's make it a really good travel bag that we don't need to put those away. I get it. You walk into the office and it's like, hey, Clarice, I'm a professional person now. But to have a little more soft, gushy padding here, or more of the strap like the Heimplanet or the GoRuck, would feel nice to me, but that's just me. I kind of have a thing for those. I hope this video is helpful. I mean, are you still watching? If you're still watching, please comment. I want to see your avatar and know who you are, because you're flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. I have loved talking to you and taking you through these. Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if there's any questions I can answer. I've got links in the description to all of the bags that I've been talking about. If you're gonna purchase one of these, please do me a favor and use my link when you do so. It's the only way I basically have to support this. I know some of you are asking for like merchandise and like business papers merch, as well as like a Patreon or something. I'm thinking about it. We'll see if it works out. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye-bye. Bagworks.co, JaceReeves.net. Those are the websites. I guess those are the websites. Yeah, he's wanting us to, I guess, go check out what he's up to or something like that. Yeah, looks nice.